Hey, right now, right here on the 4050 Social Club, we're going to get into it a little bit about Charlie Kirk and how this has affected the Black
Yeah.
community. We're going to talk about that right here, right now. 4050 Social Club.
Welcome one and all to another edition of the 4050 Social Club. We're a virtual forum that focuses on Black men and on helpful and healthy ways for us to transition successfully from our 40s into our 50s and beyond. We aim to do this by presenting about a wide variety of topics, from health, wealth, and spirituality, to relationships, to our professional lives and continuing aspirations, to quite simply and honestly just being a great human. As I've shared on several occasions, I wish there had been platforms like 4050 around when I was approaching and beginning to evolve into and through this particular life period. So we hope that you'll engage with us on this podcast as we add to the growing movement to support and to honor Black men. Jae, our eagle-eyed visionary, Quest, our resident helper, and myself, CJ the Seeker, are excited to be here with you today for another injection of the 4050 Social Club. Let's get it.
Man, I want to start off by kind of just setting a little bit of a tone real quick,
Okay.
Jay.
Yep.
So I want everyone to understand that, we condemn murder. Let's
Yeah.
just put that to rest, right? We don't
Yeah.
want to see anyone murdered, right? And
Yeah.
at the same time, we are not defending in any way Charlie Kirk or anything that he stood on. We want everyone to understand that we
Right.
definitely do not stand anywhere with any of that.
Right.
For those of you that don't understand what we're talking about right now and have not been looking at the television, we want you to understand that Charlie Kirk was conservative and that he had a lot of different ideologies around why
Yeah.
certain things were the way that
A
they were.
liberal
And
conservative. Very
yeah.
liberal.
You
Jeez,
right
to a
about that.
flaw.
You right about that. And
Yeah.
I feel like for those who really want to get a really more in-depth view of who he was, you can visit YouTube and find out some things. You can definitely go to, his personal websites and things of that nature and find out a little bit more. But let's just say that when we look back over some of the video footage, Jay, and we look over some of the things that he has personally said, it has not been things that have been fond of the LGBTQ community, not
Yeah.
things that have been fond here in the Black community, not things that
Yeah.
have been fond over marginalized people. There has
Yeah.
been a lot of things that he has said that has condemned a lot of the civil rights acts that we have put in place that have condemned what he appears to be mass shootings from thugs that have he's insinuated are Blacks, Latinos, and even going down to the fact of immigrants being here in the United States and talking about them in full detail on how they
Yeah.
need to be deported. The whole
Yeah.
situation with ICE that you was talking about.
Yeah.
You know, that's where we are right now with him.
And it's
And
just it's so amazing, man. I mean, you say all these things about this person, and he has such a huge following. Which is the really scary part, is that so many people looked up to this cat. And honestly, prior to this happening, I didn't really know who dude was. I'm gonna just be honest. And I think I spoke to a lot of people that were like, who is this dude? And not really understanding his body of work
yeah,
in
yeah.
full context. Man, I'm just like, yeah, I didn't mean to take you off. I didn't mean to
No,
get in the
you
way, but
good.
I couldn't help but just think about, how people are looking for the next great white hope. It's like people are looking for anything to just stick their teeth into and believe. Man, we're suffering
Mhm,
as a human race mentally. And
mhm.
we'll talk about that some more here in a second. But yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, man.
This is so wild that you're saying this. Charlie Kirk was in our backyard. We are Chicagoans, and his organization is pretty much founded right outside of the Chicagoland area. He definitely, just to give a little bit more context of who he was and is, he was very much on the front lines with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
during the first and second elections. He was very much part of Trump Jr.'s run for some of the offices that he was trying to run for. And then he decided to kind of really like turn his focus towards energizing the rest of America towards the fundamental things that he thought and spoke about. So he
And he
has
had a
been
huge he also had a huge
huge.
impact on the youth,
Yeah,
which I think is amazing, and that's part of the reason I believe Trump partnered with him in so many ways because of his
that's right.
connectivity to that
That's
next
right.
generation. So that was a huge impact that he had on the next generation of Donald Ducks, you know?
So we go from him, Jay, to now this individual that has killed him, that has slain him.
Yeah.
Now we go in and we want to like really think about now Mr. Robinson, and we're just going to call him Mr. Robinson. That's his name. That's his last name. The young man, the
Mm-hmm.
22-year-old white male who
Mm-hmm.
killed Charlie Kirk.
I
Now,
like how you slowed that down
I
and
wanted to
you
slow it down.
emphasized the white male piece.
They have not done it in any network. I just want you to know that, Jay. They didn't call him a white male. They called him
Yeah.
a man, a young man in every network that I've seen, Jay. But every time we get on a television and it's us, they have to use color. They always using color.
Yeah.
They always
Yeah.
using race.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wild, bro. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they
Jeez.
say this young man, this young white man, age of 22, he says, and this is where I got to really look at it and allow for us to see where people just, and if I can put it for straight for us, people don't give a fuck anymore. They
Yeah.
really are about standing on
Sorry, I
business.
made that laugh. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you can laugh. I understand what that
Yeah.
laugh is for. They really on standing on business at this point in time. And like Charlie was standing on business for what he believed in, this young 22-year-old decided that
Was
he was
standing
going to
on
stand on
business.
business for what he
Yeah.
believed in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now he comes into play, and now we see in the news, it talks about his roommate, who we now understand to be also his partner,
His partner. Yeah. Yeah.
who we later on now find out, because the first thing they wanted to do was not just say his partner and let that go. They wanted to say his partner, who currently
Transgender.
is in the process
Yeah.
of transitioning from male to female. That's what
Yeah.
they wanted to say right there so that you understood
Yeah.
the full levity of what they wanted you to capture. Regardless of who this person was, this
Mm-hmm.
young man decided to say, I'm tired of the hatred. Some hate just
Mm-hmm.
can't be negotiated with. That's what this man said in a
Mm-hmm.
text message to his partner
Mm-hmm.
before he went out and said, and I quote, I have an opportunity to kill Charlie Kirk. I'm going to take him. Come
So
on,
let's
come on, Jay.
I'm saying, so let's unpack that a little bit, right? So if we unpack that, like everything else that we talk about, it has so many layers. So let's unpack that. The one thing it shares with me is that Mr. Robinson definitely loved his partner
Yep,
to
yep.
the fact that he was like, you know what? It's time for me to do something about this ignorance that my partner is going through. So I want to put just think about that piece right there, the protection
Yep.
that was happening in response to things that his partner was going through. So that just hit me right there. But then I couldn't help but think about the other side of it too, is how the media wants us to be connected to understanding that his partner was going through a metamorphosis in their transgender journey, right? So trying to really connect something negative to that LGBTQIA population is really interesting. And I don't think a lot of people think about how quickly we got to pin the tail on some donkey.
That's right.
When we can't just pin the tail on the white donkey, we got to pin the tail on this donkey that's associated with the LGBTQIA+. It's like we're
Yeah.
just looking for things to, manipulate and control in other ways. And somehow we got pulled into all this. And that's another part of the conversation I know we'll talk about here in a minute. But as you can see, there's all this deflection that's happening that I think,
Yeah.
can oftentimes, you'll miss it if you don't just sit back and pause for a minute.
I agree with you. And to just put a pin to what we're stating in some ways here, you go on to see that this young white male decides to take that one shot that kills Charlie Kirk. We see that immediately defense attorneys are coming to say we are seeking the death penalty over
Immediately.
this. Immediately,
He getting rushed
like
to the
this.
front.
Yeah, it's him before these people that have even been on death row, right?
Right.
For this,
Right.
one of the things that I also heard was a lot of the news reports were saying we don't have incidents of shootings like this in Utah. So we don't have the level of police protection that we felt was needed for us to handle something like this. Jay, that pissed me off.
Say
That
more.
pissed me off.
Say more.
It pissed me off
Why?
because what you're sitting here and you're saying to me is that you understand the racism in this country. You are
Yeah.
you are telling me that you are racist towards urban communities and other areas where you have spun the narrative to make it always seem like our people is violent. And now, because we're in Utah, you gonna say something like, we don't in some way see things like this. That's not true. That's not true.
Well, I mean,
They've seen mass
go ahead.
shootings. They've seen
Yeah,
mass
sure,
shootings.
sure,
They've
but I
seen them.
think,
That's what happened here. And that wasn't
no,
even
I
a mass
think
shooting. It was a shooting.
it was, it was a
It
shot.
was an assassination.
It was assassination. But I guess I'm up here playing it from a different angle, though. Didn't nobody see this really coming, though. We're in Utah that's predominantly white. Is congregation of all these white people. I'm sure they felt safe within their own.
They did. They
So
did.
I think they
And
got so
what
comfortable.
do?
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
I
That's
think
real.
a lot of us
And then
always
it's,
do. We feel safe with ours too.
yeah, we do. We
I'm
do. Yeah,
safer.
that's
I'm
true.
safer every day of the week with black folks. Every day of the week.
Yeah,
Congregate. We go right now to Atlanta and we down in Atlanta and we at a
yeah,
festival. I'm not thinking about like
yeah,
someone else popping off
yeah.
with us, right? You
Right,
know what I'm
right, right,
saying?
right.
Because we're gonna
Yeah,
protect
yeah,
everything that's here with us. And I think
yeah.
they have the same, they feel the same.
Sure. Feel the same way. Yeah, yeah. So then that's all I was saying is just, I was just trying to understand, the offense, because I'm like, well, they just was having a meeting.
Yeah. You're right.
You know what I'm
They
saying?
they was just
They didn't
having a
think
meeting.
one of their members was gonna get shot at the meeting.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They didn't know that.
So now they like, whoa, let's find some other thing that we could to connect this to. And so I think that's the piece that just continues to be, one is comical, but two is just also gut wrenching. Like, for real, y'all.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. And I think that was one of the emotions that I felt after it happened. I remember Babe sent me the whole thing and sent it to my text message, and I was just looking at my phone reading it, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? Like, I didn't really know who dude was, but more importantly, I'm just like, we are in a state of and just pandemonium. It just makes you feel like, what's going on, man?
Man. Yeah.
On so many different levels. Like, we can't even go outside and feel comfortable about speaking our own opinion.
Mhm.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. It just made me feel really, really concerned for the human race. Us as a people. I don't really care about color, gender, or anything. It's just like, what are we doing? And also, what are we doing for our children? It's just a very interesting time to be raising family as well as navigating as grown-ups,
Yeah.
So those are the things that all just hit me, man. Like, damn.
Yeah. No, I feel that. We can hold two truths.
That's right.
Killing is
Yeah.
wrong and
Yeah.
harmful ideology still harms.
Yeah.
two things can still be true. That
Yeah,
killing is definitely wrong. And if you have a harmful ideology, it's still harming folks. It's still
yeah,
harming. It's still causing things. You know, think about right now all of the political killings in some ways or attempts that have happened. The Democratic couple in Minnesota,
yeah,
that got killed. Remember them?
yeah,
When they tried to assassinate Donald Trump. I mean, come on. It's been a ton of stuff. And then we can go so far to say when they got the United Healthcare guy that was killed, president that was CEO that was killed. That still in
yeah,
some ways could be viewed from a political standpoint. So this
yeah.
stuff has been happening now for a
Weeks
while.
for a while, and it's like a couple of weeks in between. Like it's not like it's
Yes.
long spurts of time. It's like, okay, boom, 2 weeks, somebody else got shot, or they rolled up on the church people's crib and shot them. You know what I mean? It's like what?
Yeah. Yeah.
It just makes you really think. You know, is it just because this one person is in office, everybody
Mm,
now is being
mm,
more comfortable
mm,
with how they truly feel. And they're like, we're
mhm.
just expressing it because we now have a president that'll probably pardon us if he likes us.
It's real wild that you even say that because do you remember when President Obama was in
Mhm.
office? Jay, do you remember black folks like adamantly being in the news every day talking about we black and our president is black and we about to do
Yeah,
this black stuff and
yeah,
you about to have to do all this black stuff and blah blah blah. We wasn't in the news. We wasn't in the news.
yeah,
We probably was in our communities, in some ways talking about okay, things
right,
look bright.
right,
Jeezy came out, my president is black,
yeah,
all that. But we weren't mainline having a
yeah,
conversation, telling white folks we about to oppress them, we about to
yeah,
take them for everything they got. We weren't out here
yeah,
doing that, Jay.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
is that harmful ideology that we saw from Charlie Kirk and the harmful ideology that now, in some ways, has a lot of us looking at blowback from his death,
That's
looking
right.
at the HBCU threats that are happening, looking at the online harassment that is happening. And Jay, I just want you to talk a little bit about how that makes you feel and what you think about this whole situation of the blowback,
Yeah,
the
the ripple
residual from
effect.
all of this
Sure.
and why we in it. We didn't
Why
even
we in
do
it?
anything. We didn't
Right.
say nothing. Why we in it?
I don't understand why we are. And I think that's the conversation at hand is how are we getting pulled into this?
Yeah.
And more importantly, why are our children being pulled into this in ways where we're hindering their education, we're hindering their safety? I still don't understand it. Why it's like, the one saying the biggest trick the devil ever had was, just being able to trick people into believing that something is there that's not there. It's like it ain't there.
Mm,
It ain't over here, y'all. So why are y'all trying to mess with us over something that y'all created and produced? And
yeah,
that's the part that really is just it's so harmful.
yeah,
And I wish, and we don't even have an answer for it outside of insulating ourselves and locking things down. But that still doesn't keep us safe. It
you're right.
still prevents us from educating and feeding our minds in a healthy way where we aren't scared to learn. I think people are, using this as a pawn. I mentioned that to you. You have certain things that happen where just Charlie Kirk was a pawn in this overall chess game of how we just a whole group of people. And
Yeah,
that's the part that just I don't understand.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Don't understand. But how about you, man? I mean, what are your thoughts?
It
Yeah, you
really
tell me what your thoughts are.
you have people that are calling and these hoax threats that are going through to all of our HBCUs. So when I think about that, I say to myself, how many of our children are going to these HBCUs? And what does that allow for them to actually feel when right after an incident that they see is focused on a rally where there are a lot of white people, white supremacists. I should say it like that. I want to say it like that because white supremacists does not take into consideration color. it takes into consideration the doctrine. So it was white supremacists, I feel, that are sitting here and are conversing about things that they feel passionate about against marginalized communities. And
Yeah.
then right after that, when we see that a white male has killed this individual, the focus automatically shifts back to race,
Yeah.
automatically shifts back to marginalized people being the factor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it didn't matter that Turning Point was not the ones that, you know, that were saying that this is what they were doing and call, they it didn't matter that none of them were the ones that were 100% out here talking and saying we're coming for the HBCUs, blah, blah, blah. That didn't matter. The fact
Yeah.
that there was a threat call, period, is
Yeah.
enough to allow anyone to understand that this is still a situation of us versus them. And that means, moreover, the white supremacists that are thinking from the capitalistic, idealistic, ableistic versions of themselves, and the marginalized.
Yeah. And it makes me also wonder about, we had episode before last, we talked about gun violence and all of that. It makes me also get really curious about what type of conversations parents are having with their children that
Mm,
are in college now.
hmm
We're having conversations with our children talking about, gun violence and how to make the right decisions. But now this is impacting our kids in different ways. What's going to stop kids from having guns in their book bags walking to class? What's going to
And they
stop?
probably do.
And they probably do, right?
Probably do. Yeah.
I know it. I'm up here thinking
Come
like
on.
I went to an all white college, you know what I mean? Up in the hills of Ohio. Where the KKK was right there, they would parade through the middle of town. So it's
Wow.
like, you know, what are kids now thinking about when they're in those environments, and how is that impacting their education? And then how is it impacting the safety of the people that are teaching them these things? You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
the ripple effect to me is, we're going to see the impact of the ripple, I believe,
Yeah.
for a long time. And that's an even broader conversation, but that's something that I'm thinking about too.
I think in some ways, one of the things that we definitely want to try to do is make sure that we, as the 4050 Social Club, can always give back in a way in which allows for the men definitely that are listening to us to be able to identify and come up with ways to have these healthy, crucial conversations. And I feel like, we should give some tips to the men to have with their sons, to have with their nephews, to have, you know, even with their families, their whole entire families.
That's right. Yeah, it's no gender on this one. I think we got having these conversations with our women too, in
Yeah.
terms of, how to conduct yourselves, how to hold yourselves accordingly, because they're gonna be around men that are toting guns. They're gonna be around these cats that feel that they have to protect their woman with a pistol. How are we educating our women? Is that the type of man that we want them to be around? And if so, how are they handling themselves so they're not becoming byproducts of the person that they're with decisions, if that makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I understand where you're
So
coming from.
think
It's a
about
lot of
think
definite perspectives that we should, in some ways, just try to give a little information about
yeah,
to all of the people that are watching. So I think we should definitely allow
I love
for
that.
that to be a point where people can always come back to this episode and
Yeah.
can always see and listen to something positive. And if they want to go with that information, I think they should and try those things. It would be a good exercise.
No, I love the exercise because we talked about too a couple episodes ago on what does reformative justice look like. And
Hmm
I think it doesn't have to be something that's so, you got to wait for somebody to come speak to you and you got to do all these things. Some of us,
Right.
You know, we got some real low-lying fruit that we could grab onto right now
Come on,
and
come on.
start to incorporate into our daily lives, man, and also share with the people that we love dearly, because you just never know how little things like that can impact somebody. You know, you think about the conversation Mr. Robinson had with his partner, and he basically was saying, like, you know, all the things he was about to do, but what if some of these conversations happened before he made that decision?
Come on, come on, come on.
And I
I
think
hear you.
that's we owe it to our communities and our families and our loved ones to at least share what we believe will be helpful. So let's do it, man. So I think, you know, you'll see something from us very soon where we start talking about how we share some of this reformative justice with you so that you can make better decisions when you're at the dinner table with your family as well
Yes,
as we walk
definitely.
through life. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is good, man. Thank you, man. This was
Jay,
good.
man, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
appreciate it. And everyone that is listening, we want you to understand that we definitely are here to listen to you, your
Yeah.
suggestions, and your feedback. Join us right now, the 4050 Social Club, and we will see y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace. I hope you had a great time with us here today on the 4050 Social Club. Click the like button below if something today caught your attention and you want to hear and see more. And follow us on our social media platforms that are below. Until we meet again, we hope that you found this healthy and helpful towards making these years the best years of your life.